Hey everybody, and welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we're going to be doing some taillights on the F30 daily driver that we've been modifying the last couple of months. Now, the reason that we're down here and not in the shop initially is because this is my little vinyl area. This is where I do a lot of custom vinyls, stuff you see on the channel, and we're going to be doing some to the taillights before we get them put on the car. We're just going to be putting a bit of a tint on the reverse light section of the tail light. So let's get these opened up, show everybody what they look like, and we'll go from there. So here are the tail lights. They are the sequential ones. So what we're gonna be doing today is we're just gonna be putting a bit of a tint over this, and then we'll be installing these on the car. These are super easy to do. The reason we're doing these mostly, we like the way they look, and then the other reason is because the taillights that are on the car, we're thinking that the car at some point had been in a rear end collision, even if it was something kind of small, where the rear bumper has been repainted not so professionally. We're assuming that the passenger taillight is having problems due to a bit of a fender bender the car was in its previous ownership history. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing these taillights. The other reason is because they look absolutely fantastic. We got the red, and as you can see here, they're not just straight red. They do have a bit of a tint to them. They're very dark on the inside, and this is a very dark red. So if you're wanting to do these taillights, but you don't want to do the ones that are just straight black, these are the other options, and I like them because they still look very tinted. So the other thing is that this is not the newer style. I guess there's a newer style of taillight that came out while we were researching these, that have these little coins here in a different shape. We like these ones, but it's really your preference. So we'll have these and some other ones linked in the description below. Just make sure you're buying the exact right one, because there's a whole bunch of them now all of a sudden. There used to just be a few of these, and now there's like 7 or 8 different taillights. They all look cool, but these ended up being our favorite. So like I said, let's get this piece here tinted. We're gonna be doing some fly eye tint on it. Once this is done, we'll get them taken out to the shop and get them installed. All right, as you can see here, the tail lights are not working as they're supposed to be. This one here on the passenger side, the outer tail light, has been having issues. Now, we did put a temporary fix in there. It was basically a grounding pin had busted on the tail light side of the harness. And so we ran a wire from the harness over to the rest of the tail light to ground it out properly, and it's failed again, which is one of the reasons why we're doing new taillights. We don't mind the look of these OEM taillights. We think they look cool, but these other ones that we bought are definitely gonna look a lot better. So these are super easy to do. What we're gonna be doing is popping the trunk open, and then we'll get back behind there and I'll show how to take all of these off properly. All right, so to remove this taillight, it's super simple. So we'll just spin this here, and then this trim panel will come off. And from here, all you have to do is remove these 2 nuts, and this taillight will slide straight towards you. This piece right here to take off is just a bunch of these clip connectors. Most of them are a Phillips style connector, and you'll just spin those out and pop off this carpet here in the back. It's pretty simple to do. Once you get this carpet off, we'll have access to these lights here. All right, so now we've got the trunk liner off. Once we're to this point, you just loosen up this one nut here, and then this part of the taillight lifts straight out the back. We'll unplug it, take that nut off, and then we'll be ready to install the new one. All right, so we're getting pretty close to being done. This driver's side took us like 15 minutes to do once we had the trunk liner out. And because we can just plug it in and we didn't have any issues with it, that's how fast it was. This side over here, on the other hand, this is what's going on. So basically what happened on the old taillight, the pin on this side snapped and got stuck in the harness. And I cannot, for the life of me, get that pin out. And then because the pin is in there, you couldn't squeeze the bottom and slide connectors out individually. I could get the other ones out, but I couldn't get the grounding pin out. So this is what we decided to do. We pulled the grounding wire out of this harness because the pin's stuck, so it kept pushing on it. So we pulled that out and shrink wrapped it. Not that you'd have to, it's just grounding wire, but we did just because. And then we grabbed the wire from the other plug that we're not using as a ground because all these are just wide into each other. And then we put one of these connectors here on it. This can be fixed later on by cutting this here. And then when we get a new harness, we can slide a new pin into that. So for right now, it's fine. In fact, until you have to change taillights, it wouldn't really matter because we can now disconnect it. It's not hardwired to the car or anything like that. So one of the hardest things about this project is actually running this wire here that connects from this piece to this piece separate than the car. This is so you can run your sequential lights as far as I can tell. The wire that needs to talk to this outer piece down this same wire loom down under through here, so it's all protected like the OEM wiring is. You can't actually use this hole here for this wire. That makes me a little bit nervous because that's kind of an alignment pin right here for that hole, but this is double insulated, so we shouldn't have any issues with the wire breaking or anything like that. So we're just gonna be really careful when we put the taillight in there and screw it all together. All right, everybody, here they are in the car. Now, if we wouldn't have had issues over here, this project could have easily been done in around an hour. And we've never done taillights on this car before. So it's a pretty simple modification to run that wire over. Everything else is just plug and play. Like we said, just make sure you're using the right plugs. Each of them come with multiple plugs so that you can use them on different F series cars. So when you start it up, you'll get a sequential along the bottom. And then you can see them slowly turn up like that. And they stay on like this all the time. And this is how the car will look when you're just driving down the street. And then when you do your turn signal, it does do a sequential turn signal. You can see there it goes from the left to the right. And when you do the other side, it'll just be the opposite. And then the hazard switch will run both of them the same thing. Both sides just like that. We're really happy with the way they've turned out. The other thing is when you hit the brakes, that it's just that piece right there that lights up. So these are just daytime running lights. Super simple. We'll have these linked in the description below. Again, if you want these ones specifically, you gotta be really careful because these little designs here are actually different in some of the newer ones, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of them for sale. So you gotta be really careful that you're buying the correct ones if you want these ones specifically. I'll have linked in the description a whole bunch of these because they are selling like 6 or 7 of them pretty regularly that are this style with the sequential and the turn signal and everything like that. So thanks everybody so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's content, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. We have more content coming on this daily driven 320 F30. We're gonna be wrapping the roof at some point. We're gonna be doing some interior carbon fiber bits on the trim. So we're pretty excited about that. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. We'll see everybody in the next video.
Bam!